the same.
Yeah, I know. He did look popular. And a true legend of entertainment. Sir Cliff Richard is our special guest next. Our next guest is a music legend. Sir Cliff Richard has been churning out the hits for more than 50 years.
Listen to this. He's sold more than 250 million records. He's now 73 and he's back on the charts.
We're all going on a summer holiday.
You know the songs. They're timeless pop hits, all from one man.
I don't need the answer.
Sir Cliff Richard has been making music for 55 years.
It's music I found, and I'm wired for sound.
The public still adores him, and so do people in high places. Last year, Sir Cliff performed for the Queen at her Diamond Jubilee.
Congratulations and celebrations.
And now he's back on the charts with his 100th album. Yep, 100. It's a tribute to other legends called the Fabulous Rock and Roll Songbook.
Sir Cliff Richard joins us now from London. Good morning to you. Thanks very much for joining us. 100 albums in 55 years. Wow. How do you explain that longevity?
It's impossible to explain. You know, when I started off, rock and roll was in its infancy and we were written off as one-hit wonders and here today and gone tomorrow. And suddenly all these years have gone by and longevity has happened without me planning it or anything like that. So when I recorded the album, I had no idea it was my 100th.
Yeah. Do you reckon, though, that it's because you make people smile? In all over the years when people are doing it tough, your songs are so sort of uplifting, so happy. Do you deliberately do that? Do you think that's the reason people have fallen in love with you?
Well, there's all sorts of reasons. If you like pop rock music, there's not just me. I mean, I'm just one of the choices that people have. But I think the whole advent of rock and roll changed the face of music, really. And I think you can play music for all sorts of reasons. I mean, I tended to have made a lot of songs that came from movies, for instance, like Summer Holiday, Living Doll, Bachelor Boy. They're all smiley type songs. On the other hand, there's always been Devil Woman and a few other things like Miss You Nights where you go for a different type of emotion. Doesn't necessarily make you smile, but it can still make you feel good.
What's the favourite part of your career? When you look back, what do you think, you know, really grabs you and you think, gosh, I was lucky to do that?
All the number ones.
Good answer.
I've often thought, and the funny thing, it's still with me now. I'll still hear a record that comes out, and I'm thinking, oh, if only I could have got that first. But in many ways, when I look back over the years, I did get so many songs first. I got the first opportunity of singing Devil Woman, the first opportunity to sing We Don't Talk Anymore, and so forth. And I have really been very fortunate.
Yeah. Look, you chronicled how long you've been in the business, how much rock and roll has changed the music scene and pop. You've seen a lot of change. Who do you listen to today? Who are the modern day artists that you think, well, they've got it?
Well, it depends on what you mean by modern day. I mean, if there's a band out now, I probably wouldn't have heard of them. It took me about a year and a half to catch up with One Direction. And I still haven't heard everything they've done, but I did hear one track of theirs where all 5 of them sing, you know, separately on that same track. And they just impressed me because they're all really good singers. The interesting thing with the One Direction group is that all 5 of them lost X Factor. Yep. And I'm often asked, what advice would I give to somebody kicking off, starting their careers? I'd say, don't worry about losing the odd battle. Look at One Direction. They lost that particular battle, and now they're winning hands down. So I find a lot of them are very interesting. Yes, when I first heard that Adele song, Rolling in the Deep, I loved it. And since I'm doing this The Fabulous Rock and Roll Songbook, that title is going to cover anything that is vaguely rock and roll right since the mid-50s right to now. And I can't wait to get my tonsils around that one, if Adele doesn't mind.
With artists like One Direction and a lot of, you know, young, new things on the block, is it harder for them or was it harder for you?
It's difficult to say, really. I think probably it was, in my personal case, it was harder for me. I had no idea where there was a studio, how to get to that studio. You know, it was just impossible. Whereas with the advent of all the technology, if you think about Daniel Bedingfield, who had that wonderful, well, he's had a couple of wonderful big hits. I think the first album he did, he recorded in his bedroom or bathroom. Probably the bathroom, there's a better echo in there. But it's fascinating to think that you could kick off like that. Whereas in our days, there was nothing like that. There's nothing we could do. I just got lucky. I met Norrie Paramor. He got me to do an audition and I got my contract. But in many ways, it's more difficult now. Record sales are so much lower than they were. And so therefore, it's much tougher to get your stuff to sell anything.
And they're also under such scrutiny, aren't they? You know, we gasp in horror at the recent antics of Miley Cyrus and people like that, but God, I'm old enough to remember and imagine what the Rolling Stones did at that age, or the Doors, or whatever.
I know, but Dave, look, I mean, you're right, it is. But she's probably having to deal with the same old things that we all dealt with when we tried to get through our teens. My sisters told me that the toughest part for them was bringing their kids through the teens. So Miley is, what, 19? And she's got a whole different world around her, so she's responding and reacting that way. I guess if you and I were 18 now, we might, well, I don't know about twerking or whatever they call it. I'm not sure I'd bother about that one.
Now, what about you and the years to come? Where do you see yourself in a few years? Do you plan to retire? Do you plan to keep singing?
Oh. Well, retirement's a funny word. I never think of it. It's not in my vocabulary, and that's certainly nothing to do with me and my future life. Stopping might be a good idea, and then just starting whenever you want to. Do you know what I mean? It's like I have, in fact, tried to slow down, which is really, that doesn't really work so much. What I've done now is give myself much more time off so that I do spend a couple of months here and a couple of months there where I don't do anything at all. And sometimes, you know, particularly after I finish a tour, I may not actually sing a note for 3 months. And then 6 weeks before I'm supposed to start, I start doing my vocal exercises again and try to get everything back into running order. But the future, I don't know anymore. I think I'm on a treadmill, and it looks to me as though the treadmill will only stop if I actually want to get off. And I don't really want to get off it entirely, but changes have to happen. Look, I'm in my 70s now. I'm just fortunate that I'm still well. I don't have any sicknesses. Everything functions pretty well. I can still stand up, I can still move, and I can still sing a bit. So I might as well do it for as long as people are willing to come and see me do it.
Well, we don't want you to get off the treadmill either. So Cliff Richard, thank you so much for joining us. Your new album is called the Fabulous Rock and Roll Songbook. It is out now. It's been a delight to have you. Thank you very much. Terrific,
A lot
isn't
of
it?
years
I'm
in
surprised.
that industry.
Exactly. I'm surprised he's not out here for the Ashes, actually, because he's a
Yes.
mad cricket follower.